Hi and welcome to this Sport in the Box tutorial. Today we're going to have a look at Sport in the Box for football and to create a basic database there for football with one output to a LED screen or TV or whatever it might be. So we're going to go into Sport in the Box. We have our Sport in the Box demo for swimming. Let's create a new database here. Select where to save it. We can just save it here. Select football. And finish. So now we have our database here. So let's start that up. As you can see, if you have looked at the previous tutorials, it looks quite similar to swimming, and the whole left part is the same here for the screen controller with speed button possibilities here to furthest left, our preview and preview actual clips, but the right part looks quite different. We're gonna just make a basic one here for a full scoreboard to begin with, so we're gonna go to first File and Settings, and we're gonna start by importing some templates here. So let's import a template pack. See where I save that. So let's have a soccer full screen. If you don't know that from previously, you can find all template, the latest versions on our support page, support.sportinthebox.com. You need a login that you have gotten when you got the license, but then you can access them. So we're just gonna push forward here. I've saved some previous ones here, so it's gonna complain, but let's overwrite them. So now it's importing the standard templates for full screen soccer. So if we go through them, we have first a full screen name presentation. We have our scoreboard, basic lineup, a countdown for the game, other games so that we can get the score for other games, presentation of the referees, and substitution of players. Of course, the name presentation, if we look at it, it also includes the penalties like red card, yellow card, and so on. As all our templates, you can modify some of the features in them, so you can modify the colors, if it should be one color of the background, or some colors of the texts. If it should have background logos, if it should say the red card or something else in another language, and so on. But with that, we're finalized with the first part. Now it's time to set up the teams and decide which timer and things we want to use. We can start by checking here, edit match. That's where I go before each game. The first thing we can see is that you, for this specific match, select home and guest team. Now, since this is a complete new database, we don't have any, so we'll go to manage teams. And we are gonna create a new team. So let's create, as an example. We can select the logo here. A logo. If it's a PNG logo with transparency, the transparency will look nicer than to have JPEG or something else that doesn't contain transparency. We can also add some players here. And on the players I can of course fill in some more additional data like height, weight. So it depends on what kind of name presentation I have, if I have a name presentation containing these things. So let's select, we maybe want to have 2 players so we can show a substitution as well. So we can select the so we have 2 players, and we can add 1 team as well, so we have so we have a competitive team. So first of all, then we go to match information and we select home and guest team, right? We can name the match. Set the date if we want to till today. When the actual kickoff time is going to be. It may be good to have half time, extra time, some match details. If we want to have the name of referees, and we'll just gonna do this to be able to show the we can show this. After this, we've selected home and guest team. We can select home and guest lineup, so we can, now we don't have all the players added here, right? But here I can add which player is going to be on which position. I'm just going to add 1 here for the home team, so I can show you a substitution. Guest lineup I'm not going to touch in this case. Timer, that's if I'm going to use the internal clock into Sport in a Box, or we can use an external game controller as the Swiss Timing Saturn, or a lot of different type of game clocks if I have an external device to stop the time and make the scores and so on. We also have a setting here if we should automatically stop the clock at 45, 90 or 105, etc. Other games, that is if I'm going to use the other games and want to show current scores of online other games. In some series we have automated this so you can get live score directly without manual entering, but you can also manually add. Now I only have 2 teams, which limitates this. So I'm in an easy way can show the score of other games, right? And next home game is so I can show a special template for the next game. With that all set, we just press OK here. Then we get some additional buttons here. So we have here our scoreboard. We have some match information about the current game. We can do a match countdown, show the referees, if it's a pause, end of game, other matches, and next home game. We also down here have lineup, name presentation, yellow card, and red card. So let's start with just showing the standard scoreboard, right? So we can see here in our output we have the game clock, home and guest score, the names and logos. Up to the right here I have the controller of the internal game clock, so if we start the time we're going to see that the time starts running. I can add or subtract score. That's the basic setup. Let's look at a name presentation instead. So we can do a name presentation for me, or a yellow card. We can also, of course, change player here if there's a substitution. So we decide which player is going to change against who, and either just show a name presentation of one of the players, or we can do a combined one, right, to show them at the same time. And afterwards we can confirm the change here, and we can see here that the infield player has then switched in our... We can also do a lineup which will then show all infield players with one template looking like this. And then of course go back to our scoreboard. The last part of what needs to be configured is of course our output. This is now only internal import in the box, so I can go into settings and create a video window if I have a video wall. Select the source, that's my main, where I want it located on the screen, the resolution of it, if it should keep aspect ratio, if I'm okay to stretch it. Maybe activate audio if I'm also playing sound in it. The other option would of course be to go to video outputs if I'm going to output it on a SDI or something else, or NDI into the network. I can of course add output here as well. But that's the basic of football scoreboard.